Hi, Michael. How are you?
Yes, good. Very busy. How about yourself?
Yeah, it has been a very busy start to 2024, and I think this is the first time we've actually been able to catch up and have one of these chats.
Yes. Look, it is, and I think it's only going to get busier. But look, it's great to be out there helping people.
Yeah, absolutely. So I keep getting asked a question, probably more now than I've ever been asked. Can you get rid of my debt? Can you reduce my debt? What can I do? And it's also a big issue that's coming up. There's a lot of talk around the traps, so to speak, around old debt that the ATO may have previously classified as non-economical to pursue that's now resurfaced. And I think one thing that some people don't quite understand is that the ATO isn't the cheap small business bank that some people thought it was or it used to be talked about. At the moment, the ATO are charging more than 11.25% daily interest rate on debt that is owed. So that's no longer a cheap debt, but there are ways with the right application, as you know, to be able to apply to the ATO to get rid of the interest and penalties. And so one of the stories that I've recently seen in the media was around a $7,000 original ATO debt that unfortunately this person didn't understand that they have due to a complicated company and relationship situation. And it seems from what I've read that there's now 23,000 dollars worth of interest and penalties owing on that account. And so I think it's really important to understand that with the right factors and with the right application, that interest and penalties can be dealt with. And we've both seen numerous cases where the interest and penalties has increased over the life of a debt and spanned out to be almost, as in this case, more than the actual debt. Insolvency is the only way to get rid of the core debt, so the actual amount that's owed. So that $7,000 she would never be able to get rid of. However, the $30,000 that in this article it's reported that is completely crippling her, there are solutions to help people like that. And also we see a lot of matters with a lot more zeros on it at the end of that as well.
Yeah, I was going to say that's, it's a lot smaller than the debts that we'd normally be faced with, but the principles are there. We often see businesses and they look at the debt that they've got and they go, probably a more typical one might have, $300,000 or $400,000 in debt, or we've, as you know, regularly seeing debts in the millions at the moment. But they look at that and go, "There's no way we can pay that off." But we're often seeing. I saw a business just recently, and we were able to go back about 5.5 years for that business. 70% of that, because we're able to also look at interest that had already been paid, turned out to be interest and penalties. Well, then that turns them from a non-viable situation to a viable situation. And then when I said to the director, "Can you pay that off?" They went, "Yeah, easy. Absolutely." The other thing too around this is that we're seeing, and this is where our sort of, we're seeing a lot more where businesses are needing to bring funding in because they just simply can't pay the debt out of cash flow. And that's probably, we're seeing that more so than we've ever seen it because, a $23 billion problem prior to COVID is now a $50 to $60 billion debt, depending on who you believe. And so that means that there's a lot more businesses with debt, but it also means that the average debt size, for us at least, the ones we're seeing, and I don't think our client base has changed dramatically, is almost double. So that they're needing to not only get into an optimal payment plan, but also bring funding in order to do that. And we're able to then work with the business, with their funder, and that's often there's a broker involved with that, and the ATO to get a solution that the ATO is comfortable with, and the ATO is happy to sit on the sidelines and give them that opportunity to do it. Whereas if they'd have just gone and seen, their accountant or their broker, they might have been told, "Look, you can't pay this off. You've got to go and go to the, go and see a liquidator." But to me, the liquidators are very much a plan B.
I think too the moral of that story there is there are a number of ways to skin a cat, for want of a better phrase, and
Yeah,
there's a whole heap of different solutions for the one problem. And a lot of the time when someone just calls the ATO themselves or doesn't really know where to start, or it is so overwhelming when you have a debt and you don't even know where to begin or how to deal with it, and a problem that was just absolutely insurmountable that they couldn't face by the time we're finished. And I think people are quite surprised that often when we help clients, we're finished within 4 to 6 weeks. So it's quite a quick process and a quick solution that they didn't even realize existed at the beginning.